And welcome back, everybody, to the TV show podcast, which is so exciting that we have everybody here. I'm still on land. We have Angelo
Yay.
Cataldi, the lovely and talented Rhea Hughes. And guys, we have so much to talk about. Let's just jump into it because, all right, first question. Did you watch the Emmys? Angelo's nodding. I know, Rhea, you go to bed at 2 in
I
the
do.
afternoon because you have to
Well,
get up
no,
at this hour.
I generally really the only award show I watch are the Grammys because I love the performances and half the time I tape them anyway. But I was one of the people watching NFL that night because there were two exciting quarterbacks. But so that's me.
Uh, I watched the Emmys because I taped some for the next day. And I got to tell you something, Jay. I enjoyed the whole thing. And I thought the Levys were excellent hosts.
Agreed, Angelo.
I thought they were great. I really enjoyed them.
They have a great rapport with one another. Obviously, they're father and son.
Yeah.
They're both brilliantly funny. I'm a big Eugene Levy fan from way back, and Dan is a fantastically talented guy. I also thought Selena Gomez with Martin Short and Steve Martin was fantastic as well. The three of them were great together. So
really,
my dad, when we were growing up, I'll never forget. We were going to see National Lampoon's Vacation, and he turned to me and very, very almost angrily said, "Now the critics don't like Chevy Chase, son, but we don't listen to the critics in this house." Which maybe says something about why I love everything that we watch. I don't listen to the critics. Shogun won a record-breaking number of Emmys for a drama, 18 Emmys. And I was thinking about my dad when this happened because that would turn my dad off. He would go, "I don't want to watch it. This many people likes it. I'm going to just watch wrestling or something." Rhea, does a show getting all these Emmy wins make you want to watch it more, or does it not affect you one way or the other?
So I saw, I did see all the clips and everything the next day, and I saw Shogun was winning for everything, and I didn't know a single person in it. That's not something I would watch. I'm not into period pieces, Japanese pieces from the 1600. So it's just not something I would watch. So that won't turn me on to it. It just won't.
That doesn't move you. Angelo?
No.
It's exact same. I realized something as they were handing out all these awards to Shogun, that I am very limited in the scope of what I watch. There are so many. I really won't watch almost any period stuff if it's before 1940. Like I don't go back. I didn't watch Game of Thrones. I don't watch old stuff. I don't watch animated stuff. Right. I don't like the Marvel characters. I shouldn't be doing this podcast. I'm way too limited in my taste. So I am branching out. In fact, when I get to my segment, I reached out a little further, and I hope to do that. And I hope the thing we teased last week, where people give us suggestions, I will endure whatever they suggest, even though it's out of my genre. I think Rhea this week might be tackling our first one on that. But I felt bad that I didn't like it. But then I said to my wife, "Should we try this? We've been looking for something new to watch." And she goes, "No, it's subtitles. It's not, no." And I went, "You're right. We're too limited. No, can't do it. Won't do it. Can't do it." Even though obviously it's a very good show.
Yeah, I'm intrigued actually. I'm going to probably check it out just because I'm one of those people. If I see a bunch of people jumping off a bridge, I go, "Well, I guess we're jumping off bridges today.
Yeah.
Let's go." It's probably a good reason to do that. All right. So one of the things that was legislated throughout the Emmys on Twitter, and the Levys had a great joke about it, where they said, we're in keeping with the tradition of the bear. We are not going to make any jokes about the bear, which
that was great. Best line in the whole show.
Great line. And one of those things where, we've talked about it. The Bear, probably not a comedy. It's a half-hour drama with comedic elements. We'll talk more about this with The Sopranos later. But I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the fact, did you know that they were winning for season 2 and not season 3? Because I think most people, okay, you guys knew that. I think most people are confused by that because season 3 just dropped in June and now they're doing September Emmys. Why wouldn't it be for season 3? I think it's confusing. Angelo, should they be more upfront about this?
First of all, I want to applaud your verb dropped, because season 3 really did drop. All right. But no, I knew, because when it came to the best director of one show, one episode, it said the director's name, Christopher Storer, and then it said Fishes. And as soon as I saw Fishes, I went, well, if that doesn't win, there should be an investigation. It's one of the greatest episodes of TV history. And sure enough, the guy won. Then I kept, from that point on, when, they brought up Jeremy, the main guy.
Alan White, yeah.
By the way, little Richie looks a lot better without the beard. Rhea, doesn't he look better without the beard?
No, I thought I didn't like I thought maybe that he grew his hair out a little bit. I didn't like it as much. Like Richie is who he is, and I kind of like him that way, but I didn't care for that.
So the whole time, Jay, I'm watching it from that point on. Whenever the beer wins something, I'm saying out loud in front of my dog, and once in a while my wife, going, enjoy this. Next year, you're getting nothing. Because that's season 3, and season 3 sucked.
Yeah. Rhea, don't you think there should be a sign or something in the back going, by the way, season 2, not season 3? Because I think a regular viewer would be confused.
Well, Jay, I will say this. The Emmys are for people who watch shows. So I'm assuming they're not that dumb that they didn't realize it was for season 2. I mean, I'm just assuming that. But it did make me see, when I saw all the awards they won, I realized I stopped watching. Like, I remember season 1 and 2, I binged them. And season 3, I got so annoyed with the slog through it. I think I only made it to like episode 4.
Wow. Really? You didn't
and just stopped watching.
Did you see the birth episode?
I did not. You told me, as someone who's given birth, I probably would not want to see it.
When people ask me now, I say that I've given birth because I experienced that show. It was that painful. Oh my God. But season 2 was fantastic.
Yes.
And it deserved the awards it got. And I hope it gets nothing next year, because it doesn't deserve anything.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, if it changes the way they view half-hour shows, and you can do a half-hour drama, that will be enough for me to earn a special Emmy. So 2 moments I want to talk about. First one, real quick. Rhea, did you happen to see the picture of Jeremy Allen White looking at, I'm going to get her name wrong,
his assistant.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but did you see the picture?
Is her name Sid in the show? Let's just call her Sydney. Yes.
But because there was a caption that said, if you showed this picture, if a private eye showed this picture, you would never beat the cheating charges, because they were looking at each other with so much love. I mean, maybe it's just friendship, but holy mackerel.
I have to tell you, so I read a lot of gossip sites. I follow them all because, occasionally we'll do like a lot of pop culture. That has been rumored about for a while, but there are 2 sides to it. One is that they kind of do like each other, which, if you work that closely with each other and you're around the same age, and God, when she gets dressed up to go to an award show,
holy mackerel,
she is drop dead gorgeous.
Agreed.
I mean, like literally looks beautiful every time I see her. Then there's the other thing that people think that they were doing this because it pumps up their profile, and people talk about them more. So, what do they call them? Fomances? I think they're called fomances. Yes.
Well,
so there are 2 trains of thought.
I root for attractive people to get together, so I want them both together. But the thing I really wanted to talk about, Angelo, is John Oliver was giving a very moving speech about his dog. Right? I mean, he's a good person on stage. He knows how to tell a story. Midway through, the orchestra cuts him off. He drops an F-bomb, rightfully so. They have to bleep it out. I don't understand. I know we don't want speeches to go overly long, but shouldn't there have been a producer or somebody who stepped in and said, hey, hold off on the music. A moment is happening. Were you annoyed with that, or do you want them to cut those speeches off?
Let me give you a football analogy. It's called audibles at the line.
Yeah.
When you're at the line and it doesn't appear to be the norm, something's out of sync, the quarterback has responsibility for call a different play. when you hear an emotional moment like that, if you're the one that cues the band, you got to be smart enough to say, we're waiving the 30-second or 40-second limit, whatever it is, because this is a big moment for the show. I've never seen any of these shows ever employ that. They always have a very set amount of time, and no matter what, you could be confessing a murder in the final second, and they'll band you off the stage. And it's like, no, let him talk. Now, at the same time, I have had more than my share of John Oliver. I don't need any more of his wins. His show stinks now. It used to be good. It's boring as hell. I don't know how he keeps winning those things, but I was thrilled to see his old partner, Jon Stewart, win again. Because Jon Stewart is still the best thing that ever happened on The Daily Show. And I watch it now only the nights that he's on. But the dog thing, come on, everybody connects to that story. Let the man finish the story.
Rhea,
Yeah, there's a special place in hell if you cut off a story about a dead dog. And here's where I will give Angelo credit. Angelo, the entire time he's doing a show, he's always a goof, always looking to, obviously hit all the sports stuff, but also have a lot of fun. But every once in a while, Homer would just call up and tell Angelo that they lost their job or their dad died or something like that. The switch would go on and he would just let them do their thing because it's the human thing to do. And, so that's where when he says call an audible,
All right, hold on.
you just have to do that.
All right. Thank you, Rhea. And I even had the hand signal. I told everybody, shut up.
Yes, you would.
Let it breathe, right? But it wasn't because of any humanity. I was just thinking, this is good radio. It'll pay our bills. Believe me when I tell you, Rhea, that was the whole thing behind it. I was always just focused on getting the most out of everything that we had to work with. And a lot of times the callers gave us a lot to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sometimes humanity and good radio are the same thing. And I think that was true of Oliver on Sunday. All right. So keeping in the space of talk shows. It was just announced. I guess I sent you the article. It was a little bit ago, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it. The Tonight Show is it's the last holdout of not doing Friday shows. The original late night show, the standard bearer, is now only going to produce new episodes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday will be a rerun. Now, most of the shows do this. The thing that struck me as interesting in the article is they said it was a cost-cutting procedure. And this comes on the heels of Seth Meyers losing his band because they can't pay for a band, which I don't understand. And they're saying, James Corden's show, which was not good, they took that off the air. It was replaced by a game show. And they said it was a lot cheaper to produce the game show than it is the James Corden show. Rhea, you work on a talk show. Can you explain to me why these talk shows are so expensive? Because I can't figure out why it's not the cheapest thing in their schedule.
Yeah, well, see, I understand why Jimmy Fallon's is probably expensive because I'm like one of those people who really only watch the clips online. I get it off of TikTok, I get it off of Twitter, where I see his bits. They look like some of them are elaborate, and I would assume they're expensive to do. Yeah. But a standard talk show, because you're not paying for the guest, correct?
No. Well, I mean, you get like $800 to be on one of those shows. It's a union minimum.
We used to give people 25. Stephen A. Smith started on our show for $25 a hit, So, to me, I don't understand until you look at the salaries. You want to do cost cutting, somebody doesn't need $30 million to host that show. So they have to look at their own people. Like, do I need 30 million or can I get by with 20 and the whole crew, including the band, can get paid?
Yeah, agreed.
First of all, Jimmy Fallon makes $16 million a year, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to continue to make $16 million a year, even though he's only going to have 80% of his former work, since it's only 4 days instead of 5. He's a distant third in the ratings. He took the iconic Tonight Show name and dragged it down into the mud. It's behind Kimmel, it's way behind Colbert, and he's getting all that money. No, don't pay these guys that much money, especially when they're losing.
Yeah.
He's losing. don't give them the money. Yeah, the bands and all that. I guarantee you, if you took everything else that entailed that Tonight Show, it would not equate to the $16 million you're paying Jimmy Fallon. Mm-hmm. And Jimmy Fallon should understand that he should be doing 5 nights a week. That's the Tonight Show, and he should take less money. That's the way it should work. Agreed. And frankly, I mean, if it's Johnny Carson, yeah, he's one of a kind. Jimmy Fallon stinks at that. Is Jimmy Fallon good?
No.
Tell me.
No.
Is he good, Jay?
He's not a good interviewer. Good? He's definitely not a good interviewer.
He's okay at thinking up. He's okay at thinking up bits that go semi-viral. Yeah. And I know that was exciting to NBC when he was in the Seth Meyers spot at 12:30. But as an interviewer, he's brutal. And as a comedian, I mean, he's an okay sketch guy. I don't like him as a comedian. I mean, what is NBC worried about? That he's going to go to Fox and lose there? I mean, that makes no sense.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. $5 million a year. Take it or leave
it. Agreed. All right, last one before we get to our regular segments. My daughter is watching Lost in her English class, and they're using it to teach story structure and character. And the teacher basically explained, like, the kids respond better to visual stuff. It's 20 years old. It's novelistic, and I'm on board with it. It's fine by me. Got me thinking, Rhea, if you could have a single TV show taught in school, what would be your choice and why?
Well, I actually thought of one because it's actually a movie, and I know it's actually taught at school because I just, somebody told me that one time, and I actually did a little research. Shockingly, My Cousin Vinny is actually talked about in law schools. Like, there's a judge who put out 10 things from My Cousin Vinny that every lawyer should follow. But they said, not the crazy stuff that Ollie did, but the courtroom stuff, they want young lawyers to actually watch that. So it's actually is shown. I saw actually a quote from the Beasley School Law Temple where they actually have the kids watch it. And they go, there's parts of that, the courtroom scenes that are just brilliantly done and still fit today in today's, lawyer world.
That's good. And Marissa Tomei at the height of her powers.
Yes.
Just when you mention My Cousin Vinny, my brain goes places, Rhea. I'm sorry. That's a great choice. Angelo, what would be your choice?
Well, if there's 2 ways to look at this question. What is, if you want to really shock them into reality, have them watch Jeopardy and realize how dumb they all are. Because even today, I can't answer 3 questions in the whole damn show. All right. But the one I think you were aiming at was, how to structure a story, how to add all these elements to it. And the best scriptwriter I've ever encountered in all the years of movies and TV is Aaron Sorkin. So I would say one of the first 4 seasons of West Wing, when he was doing all of the scripts, and the way he would weave all this together and keep it on the move. And it was so brilliantly conceived and executed. And he always had drama that seemed realistic. You can teach kids a lot about how to tell a story by showing them one of the first 4 seasons of West Wing.
Agreed. That's a great choice. And not only was he doing all the scripts, Angelo, he was doing all the cocaine. That's how he did all those scripts. My choice, my original thought was The Sopranos, but then I realized you can't have The Sopranos in a school. There's nothing, nudity and murder. So I said, what is the show that's closest to The Sopranos without going over the line? And my second thought was Mad Men, which was created by Matthew Weiner, who was a writer on The Sopranos. And I still consider Mad Men in the top 5 or maybe 7 of all time in TV. And just the character work that they do with Don Draper there is fantastic. So that would be my choice. If you are able to, click on the fan link and tell us your choice. What is a show that should be taught in school and why?
Yes.
And have all your kids watch Mad Men, because it'll teach them how to smoke cigarettes. They do it constantly. It's set in the 60s. Yeah, that's a great role model there, Jay.
Well,
Hey,
you
Oh
know,
my God.
light up for me, will you?
spoiler alert, a third of the cast dies of lung cancer by season 7. So
Oh my God.
you learn not to smoke. All right. Well, one thing that is always a great choice, guys, is Steven Singer, our sponsor, who I know, Angelo, you've worked with Steven Singer for many, many years on the radio show. Tell me about Steven Singer.
Here's the best way I could say it. All right. This guy is not your average guy. I noticed he's doing some advertising now on the Eagles post-game show. I saw him up there. He's a jeweler. He's a great, honest, terrific jeweler at the other corner of 8th and Walnut, Steven Singer Jewelry. But he thinks outside the box. We're always talking about that on this show. What man of his right mind would take a beautiful jewelry store and fill it to the brim with bubbles, and then have all of us go in and, frankly, inhale toxic fumes? But that's a separate issue. Rhea could tell you about that.
Yeah, I
And
wasn't able to go one year when I was pregnant.
he did this for 10 years, Jay,
Yeah.
the world's largest bubble bath. And in the end, a whole bunch of people got rings out of it and got married because of it. But even now, as I look back in retirement at that, I don't know any other businessman in the world would ever do anything that unique and creative.
Yeah.
And that's what makes him different. He thinks outside the box, even if it's a jewelry box. Ooh, there's a little, maybe do something with that, Stephen. Rhea,
There
I'm
you
on
go.
the right track. You were there for all those bubble
Oh
baths.
my God. Those were the crazy things. And what I did love, we would, Jay, at the end, Angelo got his license and he would marry somebody.
Yeah.
So there are several couples out there who were married by Angelo Cataldi and
Right.
Steven Singer Jewelers.
Rhea, I'm glad you brought that up. People get remarried. I'm pretty sure that was not legal. All right, go ahead.
I think that's our next TV show. A list of Angelo, like my name is Earl, has to go around and tell people they're really not married. So where do we find Steven Singer, Angelo?
IHateStevenSinger.com. The other corner of 8th and Walnut.
You can click on the link right in the podcast description. And great sponsor. Thank you, Steven Singer. Rhea, you did some unique stuff this week. So tell me about the British show and also something that was outside your purview.
Okay, so first of all, I want to thank, I think his name was Leon, sent us some fan mail. And he mentioned, when I'm always doing my British shows, a lot of times I just say Prime. When they are available just via subscription on BritBox and Acorn, what it is I started off always getting my stuff on Prime, and my shows just kind of come up. I don't know if it's like they know that that's what I do all the time. So I just always go to Prime, but I will from now on tell you. So the show I'm going to mention is on BritBox, and you can get a subscription to that. It's called The Diplomat. Now, I don't want you to get it confused with the Curry Russell show, The Diplomat, which I've seen a couple episodes. It's very good. The American version came out very close to The Diplomat in British TV. They were furious about it because obviously it's the same name. But what this is it's Sophie Rundle. She plays Sophie Rundle. She's a really beautiful blonde, like underrated beautiful when you see her. She was in Peaky Blinders, so people will know her from there. She plays a British person who works at the British consulate in Barcelona. So she helps British nationals, passport problems. They get robbed, something happens. Well, in this first season, there's a British kid who's a bartender gets killed, and they said basically he was drunk. It was an accident. Well, his father comes over from England, and he doesn't believe it. So there's a whole investigation. What I like about it is I like the two people she works with. The office dynamics are real good. The beauty shots of Barcelona it's at Catalana. I think it's like right outside Bar. Absolutely gorgeous. But they weave in, what I like is the main story, the investigation into this young bartender's death, but they weave smaller stories into it. And a lot of them, one has to deal with this woman decides to hook up with a guy on an app, and they have sex, and he steals her phone, and then literally is blackmailing her that he's going to put it up on social media.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the stuff that we deal with in today's society. So they weave other stories in it. I think it's slick. You'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy the characters, beautiful people, interesting, fast-paced stories. I liked it.
Very
Name
nice.
and streamer, Rhea. Say it again for everybody. Name and streamer.
It is on BritBox.
And the name of the show?
It's called The Diplomat, the British TV series, not the American one starring Kerry Russell.
If you see Kerry Russell, turn your TV off immediately. You're watching the wrong show.
Yes.
All right, what do you got for us in teen?
Also, from one of our fans, I didn't think they had a name on their email that they sent us, but they said, about trying something. You had mentioned trying something outside the box. So somebody recommended Once Upon a Time on Hulu. They said 7 seasons. The first couple seasons were very highly rated on Rotten Tomatoes. What it is it takes fairy tales, basically Snow White, Prince Charming, 7 dwarves, and weaves them back and forth from medieval times to modern times. Basically, the queen, the evil queen, put a curse on Snow White and Prince Charming and put them into modern day, and they bounce back and forth. It's a show I would have never watched. Clark and I absolutely love it. We are on episode 4. It's really fun. It's got a little bit of humor in it, but I love the storyline where they basically, because we all know every fairy tale, so you kind of know the backstory, but they put it in modern day times and then they pop back and forth. So I really like it.
And it stars the girl from Big Love, right? The youngest wife from Big Love. I know this because my wife watched all 7 seasons in real time and would talk to me about it. And I'll be honest, Rhea, I sort of phased out when she talked to me about it. So that all I remember.
Well, I will just tell you that you guys know that's not my genre. My genre is a little darker. Jennifer Goodwin's in it.
Yes,
she's
that's
excellent. I like her a lot. But it's fun. It's got a little mystery to it. But thank you for the recommendation. It's something I would have never watched.
Please recommend. Click on the send us some fan mail, send us a text button right in the app. You can send it to us. We will watch a show if you suggest it. And in the case of Rhea, find a great one. Torture Angelo. I might go on anonymously and suggest Angelo watch Rick and Morty just to torture him, just to make his life miserable. Angelo, you said you went outside the box this week. What'd you watch?
Yeah, I found something really good. I love it. And I'll just ask you this, Jay. I'm going to interview you on this one.
Yeah.
Did you watch a series that featured Kevin Hart as a frenzied, funny, but also serious, low-grade gangster? Would you watch that?
I think I would. Yeah.
Would you watch it if Terrence Howard was there as a long-hair hippie?
Terrence Howard is a long-haired hippie? Yes. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
How about Don Cheadle as a paint-by-numbers hardcore cop?
Anything Don Cheadle in he's great. He is one of the best actors going. So yes.
If you had said no till now, I had my kicker. Samuel L. Jackson in a cooler role than anything he's ever done, including Pulp Fiction.
What? Impossible. I would.
It's all in one show on Peacock. It's called Fight Night. I'm enduring the commercials because it's Peacock. And they're only giving me an episode a week now. 4 out. It's phenomenal. It's so interesting. And I watched it because it really takes place on the night that Muhammad Ali fought Jerry Quarry.
Oh, wow.
And it's based on a real story. There was a tremendous robbery that took place, big one. And it's really based on that. And all these characters are playing characters they've done before, but better now, right? Can you imagine Samuel L. Jackson as a hostage with a stogie in his mouth, as a hostage, being told to remove his clothes and remaining the coolest man in the room? I love it. It's got so much personality. It's fun. Rhea, it's the kind of thing you would like because there's a lot of.
I've seen the ads. It looked really good. So
it's really good. I can't recommend it highly enough. I just wish I could binge the whole thing, but check it out on Peacock. Fight Night. It's great.
Fight Night. Fantastic. And I didn't realize it had that many big stars in it. That's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
So real fast before I do my review, I wanted to say, Angelo, you suggested last week to watch the David Chase documentary on HBO. Oh my God, it was fantastic. Very few shows, I think, bear the brand of a single creator as much as The Sopranos does. Maybe Aaron Sorkin, the first 4 seasons that you were talking about with West Wing, but David Chase created a masterpiece, and the sort of biography of him and the biography of the show, and the demands that he put on the writers, that many of them left and didn't want to work with him, the sort of pain that Jim Gandolfini had to go through to become this character. It reminded me of a time when TV was as exciting as it could possibly be. And I don't think people who are young understand what a bolt of lightning that was and how quickly TV changed around it. Just real fast, there's that story about the 5th episode where they say it's called College, and they want him to kill the rat. And HBO says, you can't do that. He's a likable character. They'll never come back from it. And David Chase fought him and said, if we don't have him kill the rat, the audience will not buy who this guy is. And that moment where the hero of a TV show murders someone in cold blood, TV changed forever because it opened the door to what was possible with a TV show. So it was just a nice walk down memory lane. Angelo, thank you for recommending that. Everybody should go watch it immediately. The other thing I want to talk about real fast is Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. After that rapturous review of David Chase, here's my review of Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. Meh. I took the kids to it. It was pretty fun. I think it was a half-baked script that had 16 different ideas all competing, and none of them really paid off. But here's the thing. I'll watch Michael Keaton do anything, and Michael Keaton is a genius and was great. And, the love of my teenage life, Winona Ryder, was in it, so I had to go see that. It's pretty good. Maybe wait for it to come out on digital. Watch it with your kids this Halloween. They will enjoy it. All right, Angelo, what did we talk about this week?
Wow, we have a lot. All right, if you would like to rewatch the Emmys now that we've talked about it, it's on Hulu for the next 4 days. Check it out. John Oliver, if you want to watch his show, I don't anymore, but you might like it. I believe it's on Max or Showtime, which is, I can't even remember. Max, okay. The Daily Show, which you should watch on Comedy Central, is on Mondays at 11. That's when Jon Stewart does it. That's the night you need to watch it. If you want to watch Jimmy Fallon make $16 million a year, you can see The Tonight Show on Peacock. My cousin Vinny, Rhea's recommendation for what they should be teaching in middle school, is available both on Hulu and AMC Plus. The Diplomat on BritBox. West Wing, which I suggested, you could see that on Max. Once Upon a Time is on Hulu. Wise Guy, the David Chase documentary, is on Max. The Fight Night is on Peacock, and Beetlejuice Beetlejuice is in theaters, but it's just meh.
Meh. Doing this podcast is never meh. We appreciate you following us along. Please visit our great sponsor, Steven Singer. Links in the description. Send us some mail. Tell Angelo to watch something animated. Torture him.
I want a cartoon. Give me a cartoon. Rick and Morty.
You can click on it right now and send it to us. Make Angelo watch something. Keep telling us. We got some nice reviews that came in. Please review the show and tell your friends about us because we love doing this for you. And we will be back next week with more TV shows.